why it is I get rid of it. Because Peter Brett, if those of you who read fantasy know who Peter Brett is, the author of The Worded Man, once famously said that I look like a 1970s porn star. Which,
not something you would want to look like.
Which is Robin then, because I shaved it off one time and my family said, no, grow it back. So I did. And then after that comment, my wife, who was obviously far more marketing savvy than I was, said, give it another shot, shave it off, see if we like it. And it stuck. So.
Well, that and when he went to the bar without the mustache.
Oh, well, yes.
Several people there.
You may not notice, but my hair is turning gray. And my mustache is almost all white.
All gray.
So, yeah, if I shave this off, I can pass for a much younger man and I can pick up the women.
You can. Yep. But now that he lives in the middle of nowhere, he doesn't go to the bar anymore.
That's true. There is no bars here.
He used to go to the bars.
This is why I'm drinking in my office. Give him more. He spills more info. Yes.
Yeah.
Toast to you both. Congratulations on the Kickstarter. Well, thank you very much. Coverama looks to have some copies available. Amazon, but not many. I'm surprised there's any.
Are you talking about Age of Swords?
No, Coverama.
Oh, really?
I'm in med school. Do you take future doctors as possible adoptees? Well, sure. Why not? I mean, if you're going to take care of us when we get old, why not?
We're getting old. We could use a doctor to...
Yeah, basically keep us alive.
Yeah.
You know. Portrait puzzles. I'm not even sure if that's a...
That's there. Someone was answering the question. Okay. That's
50% off codes with code Sullivan. I'm not sure what that is either.
That's something that Rocky's setting up.
Can we get images for cover art on the Chronicles and or Revelations?
Nothing on Revelations because
we don't own that.
We don't own any of that artwork, and it's not very good anyways.
I'm not really thrilled with the cover art for Revelations.
Death of Dulgath you can get stuff on. Hollow World you can get stuff on. What?
Bold of you to assume I know how to crop and resize images. Kudos for the the pros there.
Go online and find someone to do it. I mean, seriously.
Shouldn't be that hard.
That I have lots to do, and I really can't like resize every.
What did Robin do for a living before? She seems to have so many skills, and she does.
I do.
Please tell them.
Well, so we already know about my waitressing career. That's how I put myself through college.
Wait till this. I'm gonna get some ice.
I was a software programmer for a number of years. I used to be my degree's in electrical engineering. I was a software programmer for a number of years. Michael and I went on vacation and we landed in Vermont, and Mike said, I want to live here. And I said, well, that's great, but I kind of need to make a living. And we lived in the middle of nowhere in Vermont. And I literally showed up at a software company and I said, I'm a software engineer from Detroit, and I would want to live in Vermont, so I'd like a job here. And they said, okay. And they hired me, and I came in as a grunt programmer and kind of worked my way up the ranks, became the head of the department in engineering, and I got a little bit bored with that. And then the owner who was running the company said, you know, how would you like to try your hand at marketing? And I said, yeah, sure, why not? And so then I started doing the marketing, and I did really well at that. Yada, yada, yada. I eventually became president of that company. I then got involved with product. That particular one of those products at that company was sold to another company, and I was basically put under a golden handcuff to go to that new company to help them integrate that product. So I got into product management, which is kind of like inventing products, inventing software, if you will. So I would design the products, but I would no longer actually do the coding. I would have other people do the coding, and I would do the development. And then Michael, because we moved to North Carolina and he was really bored because he didn't have his land anymore in Vermont, he came to work at the same company I did, doing advertising. And then he didn't like working for the man because Mike doesn't play well with others. We've already established that. So he started his own advertising company, and then he brought me on to work at his advertising company. And so we ran an advertising company for a number of years. And then Mike said, I want to write books, but I don't want to publish. And I said, okay, that's really weird, but if that's what you want to do, fine.
That was because I had totally given up 20 years of my life for what I thought was nothing. So I didn't want to go down that same road.
So then I went back into product management, and then I was doing that for a while. And then I decided after reading Mike's books that they had to get published. So then I taught myself publishing, and then I did that. So waitress, engineer, president of a software company, president of a marketing company, product manager, and publisher. That's 6. And I cook bread.
She does, yeah, cooks bread. She seems to be a battalion of identical twins. Is that it's the only explanation?
Oh, because I do so many things.
Laugh aloud. I have to meet you again and redo the photo until you open that pub. Just opened Rosenthorn to get your own bar. Have you considered commissioning Simonetti for a small art print run? No. I hadn't thought of that.
No.
There's a lot of picture editors online. Woot woot, engineer shout out.
Yep.
Okay, all for you. Okay, I was in here for that part.
Yes.
Robin really is amazing. Well, of course she is. Robin is so inspiring. Robin, you're also inspiring.
I am. What can I say?
Robin, how do you develop your story sense? This was actually questioned earlier, and I missed the question. So how is it that you're able to edit me? I mean, first of all, after you read my writing, how dare you? How dare you even say boo?
So Mike's been doing this for 10 years, and for the first 6, he didn't allow me to be involved. Long about, what was it? It was Wintertide, I think. Wintertide. Oh my God. Wintertide was...
Okay, so when I did Crown Conspiracy, she made like a couple comments where I made changes. There was the famous scene at the entering of the wall.
Yes.
Okay. And then there was the Arista thing. And there was like 2 tiny things that you did in that. And you had very little to do in the subsequent ones. You did some cleanup. Mm-hmm. But it really wasn't until we got to Wintertide that you really started... deciding that you wanted to do more, and I had problems because you were still working out.
Okay, so when Mike first started writing, I still had a day job, and you might be surprised to discover that I'm a bit of a workaholic. She
supported us for the first, well, not for the first, but for 19 years of our marriage. She was the sole supporter for us.
So when Mike started making money, we wanted to reverse those roles. You know, he's like, look, you know, you supported me for a number of years. I'm making good money now. I want you to quit your job and you can live a life of bonbon eating. But I don't...
Leisure. We call it leisure.
Oh, I don't do leisure very well. No. And so it's very hard for a workaholic not to have work. And so I started interjecting myself more and more. I always was doing the business side, but I started injecting myself more and more into the story side. And many times Michael and I did not see eye to eye, primarily because I hadn't learned a lot of things. I hadn't learned how to edit Michael. There are things that he won't change. There are things that he will change. And I didn't know where those lines were. So we used to have really bad knockdown, drag out, you know, like Jane, you ignorant slut conversations. And he was working with a writer, Annie. And it was bad because he was always he was in a really bad spot because she was a writer. I was an engineer. I was trying to be very technical about things. I was always trying to plug like every little plot hole and stuff. And poor Mike, you know, he had Annie wanting to do these changes and he had me wanting to do these changes. And finally he just said, nobody is going to do any of this anymore. I'm going to write the books. You guys are going to have no say over the books. It's done. And I got depressed because that was like my only outlet. That was like my only I was very
Robin
creative.
is a workaholic. And due to the fact that around that same time she had quit her job because she didn't have to have a job anymore, and she didn't like her job. And she always needs to have something to do. And the thing that she found to do was helping me with my career. And when I basically told her I was going to threaten to cut her off from that, she totally freaked out.
Yeah, it was bad. So what I had to learn how to do was, it's very hard to describe, but you know how like, people will imitate people, you know, like, you know, you have like comedians who will imitate George Bush or whatever. I had to learn how to imitate Michael. I had to learn how to think like Michael. I had to learn what he was doing and why he was doing it. And I had to dissect his books.
Well, the thing is that she's an engineer, so she thinks of things in very analytical manners, and that is not how you do art.
And that's not how you do creative. Yeah. So we had a lot of books.
I had to teach her. I mean, we used to get in arguments about English to amazing degrees. I would say, I want to do this. She says, you can't do that grammatically because that's not the rules. And neither one of us really at the time knew the rules of grammar to any great degree. We've learned since then because we work with editors and we've studied a little bit more. But the reality is that at some point we kind of met, you know, halfway where she learned enough about the fact that you can bend some of the rules.
What to bend on and what not
to bend. And I learned that, frankly, there are some good rules in grammar that I was ignoring. And we kind of met. We met halfway. So I became a better writer because of what she did, and she became a better editor, and that's essentially how it worked.
Yeah, I'm just really...
Unfortunately, the real problem with this is the fact that it has ruined stories for her.
It's terrible.
She can no longer read nor watch films without tearing them apart because that's what I've done to her.
I am a very, very good structural editor. I would put my editing skills versus anyone in New York. I'm really, really good at structural editing, and it took me a long time to develop it. It took a long time for Mike to trust me. Mm-hmm. So there was,
she had to prove herself to me. I wasn't about to sacrifice the quality of my books just to accommodate my wife.
Yeah. So it took years. I mean, it took us probably 8 years to develop the system we have now. And don't get me wrong. I mean, we still disagree over stuff all the time. And
I think I brought you to tears over this book where you wanted certain things done.
We almost got to that point. I wasn't getting much sleep, and there were certain things that I wanted a certain way, and Mike wasn't relenting. And I got to that, fine, then I'm never going to edit your books again anymore. I mean, this is just too painful for me. And we worked through it, but I'm the reader's advocate. You know, I'm here to make sure that.
And the thing is that as a writer, you never want to make it so that your alpha or beta reader is not comfortable telling you what you did wrong.
Yeah.
And for most people, if anyone else gave me feedback, I would say, thank you. I appreciate it.
And then I would ignore everything you said.
Well, no, I wouldn't necessarily ignore it, but I would never push back, because you never want to push back. You never want to say, you're an idiot. You don't understand what I'm writing. You don't do that, because if you do that, then that person they shut down and they won't tell you anything else.
But Mike can tell me I'm an idiot all he wants, and I don't. But it's fine.
Which is exactly the truth, because Robin is a strong enough individual, and she knows me well enough that when I say certain things, she's not going to take offense to them. And when she says things to me, yes, I will be taking offense to them shortly, but I'll get over it. It's a famous story that she will come and she'll say, this has to be changed. And I say, no, it won't. And I'll be adamant that it will not be changed. And then I'll go to my room the next day, and I'll look at the page. Damned if she's not right. And I'll make the change. 2 days later, I'll show her the results. She'll look at it and say to herself,
You said you weren't going to change this.
And I'll say, what change?
I didn't change nothing.
I didn't
it's
change
always
anything.
Been this way.
Yeah, this is the way it is. And she'll say, I have a copy of this. I'm like, crap. But
there are some things I will dig my heels in, and he'll just make me prove it, you know.
A lot of times it's a matter of, did I screw up, or was she a lazy reader? Or is she so specific on one thing that she is picking up on something that no one else is going to pick up on? So I put her through her paces for her to defend it in a logical manner that makes sense to me. And if she can prove it, I'll make the change.
Yeah.
If she can't prove it, then I'm assuming that this is just something very peculiar about her, and 90% of the readers are not going to have that problem.
And then there's some things that we can't agree with, and the beta readers help us.
Yeah, we have an arbitrator,
yeah.
because there's been many arguments that have been ended with, we'll see what the
beta readers say. Yeah, and I've been wrong just as much as...
Yeah, I've been wrong too, so...
Oh my God, you don't ever say that. You say, I wasn't quite right.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
You can't prove that I said that.
I would love to film our editing sessions and like...
No, I would not, because I would be like taken to jail. I'm mean and cruel and awful.
He is mean. He is cruel. But it produces a good book. I mean, people who've read the afterwards know that there are things that I've asked for and he said no to, and it was good that he said no to.
Robin should run a master workshop on editing. That would be so cool.
I would love to do that.
Actually, I'm much worse when it comes to editing than she is.
I don't have enough time to do that. I would love to, but I love structural editing. I love line editing. I like working with the copy editing. I have a pretty high attention to detail. I like having certain things that are mine. I gotta think of it now. Galarabins don't kill you; they just break your heart.
There are things in the book which she has rewritten. What happens is I write something and she doesn't like it. So in order to show me what she didn't like about it, she rewrites it. And 99% of the time, I reject whatever she writes. But occasionally, she does something really good. This was one of them. Yes. And she loves when something that she wrote gets into the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that Galarabins did not break the Galarabins don't kill you, they break your heart, was one of her best lines. And and of course in Raya Revelations, there's a very famous.
So okay, now wait a minute. So I write great stuff all the time, like really, really, really good stuff. And he reads it and he never says anything about it. And the reason why he says nothing about it is most of the time he doesn't even realize that I wrote it, because I have imitated him to a way that he thinks it's his line. And I'm like, no, I wrote that line. But one time, way back in the beginning, when he first started letting me do some edit, I wrote this line. I said, he is pig. He is dirt. He is pig in dirt. And when Mike saw that, he says, this is great. This is like the best thing ever. This is like, and I'm like, seriously, of all the things I've ever written, that's what, there was another one in this book that was like that too. It was like this really simple thing. And you said, do you know how beautiful that is? I said, it's nothing compared to all the other things I do. But yeah, so.
Yeah, that was
anyone who ever reads Nifron Rising and comes to
Pig and Dirt.
That's me. That's all me.
We have a comment on the video. I was less than correct. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Do you eat? You two are every bit as capable and impressive as a duo as Royce and Hadrian. It's incredible. Well, you do realize that in many respects we kind of are. Well, actually, Royce and Hadrian are generally me.
Royce and Hadrian is him. But you gotta be careful, because some people don't know.
But all the other women tend to be her.
Don't know.
So when I wrote the dedication for Persepolis, that was quite true. Arista, Amelia, Thrace, and Gwen were reflections of Robin, or how I've come to know women, and they've all come from basically her. So if you like the female characters in my stories, you're basically looking at most of them. You two, okay, we got that one. You're top 25 fantasy author. You're a top 25 fantasy author in what list?
Oh, probably
a major KS funded author. You're both doing something right. Are we really?
I guess so.
Top 25 in what list?
It might be Amazon or something.
I have no idea, but when I go to a con and I stand in a room with a bunch of other authors, no one comes to me.
Nobody knows.
Everyone goes to John Scalzi, or they go to Patrick Rothfuss.
It's a Reddit list.
Ooh, a list.
A Reddit list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there is a Reddit list. Yeah.
So there is a Reddit list.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm active on Reddit, so it's kind of,
Yeah.
It's not exactly representative of the.
What are your plans for Legends of the First
Empire are done? What are your plans after the Legends of the First Empire?
Well, he's got a new series that fits between the two.
You're probably late in coming, but that's okay. We'll recover it for you. Because I've been drinking and I've totally forgotten what I wrote earlier or spoke earlier.
He's 1.5 books into a 3-book series that comes between Legends and Rhaenyra.
What I used to call the bridge books, and still call them bridge books to some extent, because it connects the Legends books to the Rhaenyra books, and it is essentially the Rhaenyra.
You made him feel bad.
Who?
Because you just came in sorry.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to make you feel bad.
He's been drinking a lot. You missed all the drinking.
Yeah, sorry. But no, the whole point was that...
number 24 on the top, 105.
Yeah, cool. But no, so the bridge books basically cover the period of the Empire itself. So you have an understanding of what goes on with that. It's interesting because I have to compress 2,000 years into 3 books.
What are you drinking? He's drinking rum. He's drinking...
Zacapa rum from Guatemala.
Yeah. We're laughing because that question has come up.
It's amazing how often people like to find out what I'm drinking.
Yes, Sakura's 23-year-old rum. I think
that's very good. Yes, 23-year-old rum, very good. No, you need some bourbon. No, I don't actually care too much for bourbon. But if I was going to drink bourbon, it would be Basil Hayden, because that is my new bourbon.
Yeah, he drinks
Irish whiskey. I love Irish whiskey.
He has a lot of Irish whiskey.
And my favorite of that right now is Glendalough, which is a really good Irish whiskey.
Which we got introduced by someone who came for a night in Aberlin. They brought that, and he's actually come back twice.
An aspiring writer who always brings those, and that's why he gets invited back.
Because he brings the whiskey.
So clearly we're down to the Irish whiskey question. Is there anyone else who has any other questions for us? It's a copy, yes. Oh, we can find you some better bourbon than Basil. So if you want to visit, all we need to bring is Irish whiskey. If you bring Irish whiskey, I will not turn you away.
Do you have any questions for us readers? Oh my God.
Ooh, interesting question. Are you happy? Do you like what I did? I write in the middle of I write in a vacuum. I have no idea.
Vacuum. He does.
So when I write things, I have no idea if you actually like it. I mean, there are certain, people I've killed off, and I'm concerned that you'd be unhappy with that.
Is the next series going to be about Glen Morgan or the fall of Nahron's empire? The next series is the rise and the fall. So you're going to see both the rise of Nahron's empire and you're going to see the fall.
But no, you won't get into.
But it won't go to Glen Morgan. It won't go as far as Glen Morgan.
Oh, I am a #1 favorite author. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And I'm not usually a #1 favorite author. Your books will give me a lovely, endless, enjoyable place to visit again.
That's good.
Well, thank you so much for that. When will the book ship out?
I have no idea. So we've got to get people's surveys done. They need their names in. There will be a time, and I'm not sure when it will be, but there'll be a time where I'm just going to have to cut you guys off. And I'll post an update. It's going to be like, if you haven't answered your survey by this date, you're not going to be an acknowledgement, because I'm going to need your survey to get that in there. I have to find out when the press has availability. I can't do that until I know the page count. I couldn't know the page count until tonight when we closed out. So now that I know about how many people there are, I can put in filler text for names to kind of figure out how many pages I have. I've got to get the last bit of edits in from Linda, which should be here on the 25th.
Linda's our editor.
It's one of the editors. And so very shortly here, I will know the page count. I would say within another week, I'll know the exact page count. And it's not until I know the exact page count can I schedule the press.
So Melissa Hayden, hi.
Yes.
We haven't seen you in a while. You ask, are you going to get to the Ezra story? Yes, I am. In fact, I am a half a book away from it. You also obviously came a little bit late. I wrote the first book of what's known as the Rise and Fall, and that is starting around year 500 of the Empire. The second book has to deal with the pinnacle of the Empire, and the last book of that series will be dealing with Ezra Hodden and the fall of the Empire. Much of that you'll already have learned from the writer Revelations, but I'll be going into that in great detail and explaining things you didn't know about before.
Is there a way we can learn more about how to get into publishing? So, a couple things. This is just kind of our little celebration Q&A thing. There will be scheduled, and I have to do them before April 8th because Kickstarter is getting rid of the live stream. But we are going to be doing 2 sessions. They were part of your stretch goals. One will be on writing and one will be on reading. And I'll schedule those very shortly. And so we will be having more time for questions. So if we didn't get to your questions tonight, there will be 2 more sessions that are coming up that we can get to them.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, I have no plans right now of doing Glenmorgan, but I had a weird idea of possibly, there's a series of stories that could take place after the fall of the Empire, prior to the rise of Revelations, in which there are several generations of heirs and protectors that could take place. And I'm not sure that I have the time or ambition to write those stories, but perhaps I could actually farm those out to other writers, and they could be a whole series, almost like Doctor Who, where they could do a series of books on each of those groups. I don't have any writers who would be able to do that right now, or anyone who I'm interested in, but that's always something I've kind of thought about, because there's a whole huge slew of books that could be covering that period, because I thought it'd just be interesting, because everyone could make their own characters for different portions of the historical period. Just the thought I had, because I didn't really actually have the time to go into those, but maybe one day. Getting back to, okay, I know you guys talked about publishing. Okay, you did that one. Do you ever get burned out? No, actually, I get quite frustrated because I don't have enough time to write. I would love to write. I've been not writing for like a month and a half here, and it's driving me crazy. I would love to get back to writing.
We've worked on edits for.
I feel really good when I write every morning, and I haven't been able to do that because we've had a lot of other things going on right now. So I don't get burned out. I really love to write, because I only write. I mean, for me, writing 4 hours a day is not a lot, but it's what I can do, and it's what I do best. So I love writing every day. I don't like not writing every day. It makes me feel crappy if I don't. So no, burning out is not some of my issues. Although I did notice that once I got an email from someone saying they were a little concerned with the fact that I was putting out so many books so quickly, which I thought was odd. They said, how can I keep up the quality if I'm writing so quickly? But that's just the rate at which I write, and the quality is what it is. So I don't know. Different writers, they write at different paces. Let's see. Wonderful to hear about the books. Thank you. Sorry, I was like, I don't mean to insult you by saying that you're late. Mm-hmm. It's not what I meant to do. Wonderful to hear about the book. I'm kind of covering other people who have already been here. Let's see. Are you going to do more live streams on other platforms?
So when we did this before, we used GoToMeeting.com. I think we're gonna continue to use live stream because it's free, and the GoToMeeting costs me money, and it seems to work okay. But like I said, they're discontinuing it on April 8th, so we got to schedule those two sessions before that. If I can't get them scheduled by April 8th, I got to look at our calendar and see what we've got going on. Then I'll have to use GoToMeeting, but I would prefer to use live stream if possible.
We are moving midsummer, and I don't want my book to get lost in the mail. Are you mailing them out in the middle of midsummer?
No. So the way Kickstarter works is you're going to get these surveys tomorrow, and you answer the survey, and part of that is going to be your addresses. The addresses will not get locked down. They will stay editable until we actually have the books in our hands. Once, or close to in our hands, like they're on the, they're going to the fulfillment house. When we know the books are coming, we will make an update and we'll say, we're about to lock down the addresses. So you need to do it then, and then they're locked down, the labels are made, and they're sent out. If for some reason that you're moving right during that, just let us know through an update or through an email or whatever, and we'll just set your book aside, and we won't give it to the fulfillment house. And then as soon as you're wherever you need to be, we'll finish it out. But at this point, until I have the finished book, which I can't have until I get your names, hint, hint, get me your names. I can't get press scheduled. As soon as I get press scheduled, then I'll know for sure when the books are going to arrive. But I need to get your names, and you need to answer your surveys, which means I need to get your surveys out tomorrow.
You realize that we're almost too old to know what Twitch is, right? We're not quite that old, but
we
close.
Our son twitches.
Well, they want us to do live streams on Twitch. I don't think we know that.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how to do that.
This is what
I can watch a Twitch. I don't know that I can do a Twitch.
Awesome. Thank you. We are a military family and won't know when we are moving till the Packers show up at the door.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure you get it one way or another. We got to keep those military families happy. So it is 9 o'clock. I'm sure we didn't answer everything. I think I can scroll up, and if there's things that were on here that we didn't see, we'll keep those for the next 2 sessions. Like I said, we'll be doing.
Yeah, we have to eat dinner yet.
We do have to eat dinner because Mike's been drinking all
and with no food.
With no food.
I haven't eaten since noon.
So he needs to get.
I was want to cover this last one. Michael, is Tolkien your biggest inspiration? Probably. He was the one that got me reading. I don't really have too many other people who inspired me, but yeah, I would say.
Well, and Harry Potter got you back into writing.
And Harry Potter got me back into writing fiction. So, but yeah, so we do need to go eat. So I hope you don't mind if we check out here and have food and relax, because it's 9 o'clock where we are, and she's right. I've been drinking whiskey all afternoon. So
not all afternoon. When did you start?
I don't know. When did this start?
This started at 6.
Yeah,
6:30.
It's 9 o'clock.
So you've been doing it since 6:30.
Yeah.
Well, the bottle's not empty, so that's something.
No. Okay.
And on that note, bye-bye. We'll be in touch.
Everyone.
We'll have another one of these soon.
Thank you. Thank you for coming by, and thank you for backing the Kickstarter, and thank you for making it a success. Yes, and I hope that you all enjoy the books that I continue to put out.
Okay, and so I don't know. I'm going to pause the chat for a moment. Well, how do I do this?
I don't know. We're old.
We're trying to figure out, we are going to go off air.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.